Welcome to a special Monday night edition of Friday Night Chat. So we'll just call this Monday Night Chat with Garage Geek. Hello, Garage Army. My captain is out there. He's the captain. We haven't decided if he's captain down under or if he's captain Australia. We'll see. I got a package when I got home from work today. And I thought, well, you know what? I want to share it. Oh, that's Fred, by the way, and that's Angel. I'm watching my sister-in-law's dog. And so I actually have 3 of them here. We'll see how that goes because, sometimes they start barking. If that happens, I'll have to cut. Okay, and I wanted to share. So, where do I start? So after work, I went to the post office and I had 2 packages. So this is the ongoing story for This Is Music. And I took them to the counter. So first off, I had 1 package, and then as I was sealing this up, I found a couple of other things, and I was like, oh, let me just make another package. So I went to the post office today, and it was $33 and $25. And I was like, holy hell. And then he's like, well, if you actually put them both together in one, it would be $33. And I was like, well, okay, that's a little bit better. So I'm going to try to cut the fat because I have a couple of the things in here that you don't need. I'm just going to send you everything in one package. I'm going to bite the bullet, and I'm hoping it's going to be 25 and I'll be done with it. So listen, the people who ordered albums, like vinyl albums for me overseas, I'm sorry, you're probably not going to get them. Yeah, the guy at the post office said the rates did just go up. And I know I'm so cheap. Another reason that you haven't gotten them is I haven't gone shopping in a while to get vinyl mailers. So you will get those albums. I'm just like really bad. I just need to go shopping. Okay, so sorry, Kim. Eventually you're going to get that stuff. Okay, so hold on. All right, let me talk about my Saturday morning discussion. I think it went really well. I had 2 guest stars, and those guest stars were Sleepy Reader. Thank you so much, Sleepy Reader. And also Vinyl Richie, which I was tickled pink because, Vinyl Richie is, like vinyl royalty. And, of course, Sleepy Reader is comic book royalty, but he's been on my show before, so I take him for granted, which I shouldn't. I'm joking. Okay, so, but anyways, it was successful. And I even had, I had people from all over, and 2 people from Denmark, which is This Is Music of Morten Astad. So they both showed up. I was very happy about that. So I think it went well, but it went way longer than I thought. It was over an hour and a half, and I was like, oh my god, it's already an hour and a half. I wanted it to be a quick hour, just because I didn't want it to drag on. But it's gotten a lot of views. Well, for me anyway, over 100 views. So I'm very happy with that. But I did cut this short. So the book discussion of Rat. Why are you crying? So this book discussion of Rat, nobody read it. So of course I didn't linger on it. So I want to treat this tonight as just a book that I read, because I didn't want to just leave it out. This book is just as harrowing as I remember. Now, I read this book maybe 25 years ago, and it's stuck with me all these years. And so I wanted to see if it was still as powerful, and it is. So a couple of things. Number one, this book was poised to set this writer like recognition in the English-speaking world. I don't know what happened. I can't find any mention of him online, or what happened to him, or what became of him. Or, I think he was popular in his native country of Poland. I think he's Polish. I could be wrong about that. Sorry. Warsaw. He worked dean at Warsaw College of Literature. So yeah, that's in Poland. So I don't know what happened. And even it's difficult to find mention of this book. A couple of people online and Goodreads, I think they reviewed it, and they did not review it well. They didn't like it. They thought it was boring. I'm going to disagree. Like, this book has its problems. It does, because the writer tries to put this rat in as many different situations as possible. So it's very contrived in that way, because he wants us to see what a rat's life is like in many different situations. But this is the birth to the death of one rat, and his life is brutal and constantly filled with fear. And what I love about this is that the writer just writes as if he's a journalist, or like the from the rat's point of view, but he doesn't add emotion to it. We've got to get the emotion from it. He just describes what the rat does, what he goes through. And man, this is a harrowing book. And I know it's silly to think, okay, so we're reading about an anthropomorphic rat, but it really can take you into another world and possibly see what it would be like for another creature to live its life. Man, I highly recommend this book, although most people would probably not like it. But I really think this is a powerful book. So, Rat by Andrzej Zaniewski. Wow, I give this high praise. If you read it and hate it, it's okay. But at least you read it. I think people should read this book just because it gives us a different point of view. Yeah, I love that book. I loved it 25 years ago. It haunted me. It stuck with me. It still did. It's a harrowing read. Harrowing. All right. So I wanted to kind of just finish my Saturday morning chat because I didn't get to that. Now, having said that, we voted during the discussion, and these are the 4 items for next month. So it'll be the last Saturday of February. And so the graphic novel that we're going to read is Stitches by David Small. Now, this was a National Book Award finalist. Now, that's pretty interesting because the book award is for literature, and of course, this is a graphic novel. I also don't think this would take you long to read. So I've had this on my shelf forever. I've needed to read it, so I'm so glad that we picked this for graphic novel. For music, we are going to be listening to Mark Lanigan Band, Blues Funeral. Sorry, that's hard to see. Yeah, sorry. It's got that cover in any event. Okay, so Mark Lanigan Band, Blues Funeral. For book, we picked the sci-fi classic The Day of the Triffids by John Wyndham. This is readily available. It's a brand new release, but I'm sure used copies of older editions are readily available. This is from the Modern Library. They recently put out a whole bunch of his books, and I think I almost have all of them with these new covers. And I read 2 of them so far, so this will be my 3rd. And then we picked the one movie that's going to be homework for me, but Vinyl Richie was right. It's like, hey, you put it up, or did Sleepy say that? Like, you made it one, I think Sleepy did. You made it one of your choices, so there you go. I like how that looks. So I'm kind of trying to get it in the screen there. So this is the Beatles' A Hard Day's Night. This Criterion collection is gorgeous. So if anybody, I don't know, sometimes Barnes & Nobles has Criterion sale, and you can get these for about $20. I'm sure this must be readily available too. Anyways, A Hard Day's Night by the Beatles. I remember watching that when I was young and thinking it was silly, but it's time for me to re-watch it and reappraise it. Okay, so I got a package in the mail, and I'm not crazy with Whatnot anymore. I'm still going on once in a while. I think on the weekend I went 2 or 3 times, but through the whole week I didn't do any. And so I think I have it pretty much under control. But I did get these books, so I want to show them off. The first set, they're all John Christopher, 2 different versions. And it was funny because in the chat, I was like buying these up. I was like, no, you got to put those up, put them up. And then one person was like, are these books any good? I've never heard of it, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, guys, it's nostalgia. I loved these books as a kid, and I just want to own them. I don't care, both versions. Now, when I was a kid, I had this version. Oh, so if you don't know, this is the Tripods. I think called the Tripod Trilogy. I'm not sure. What is it called? the Tripods. Yeah, the Tripods trilogy. It's right there. So basically, it's in 3 parts, and they're kids' books, but they're so good. So in the future, people are living kind of like medieval, and these tripods come, and they don't know much about them. But in the first book, like people join in on games, contests, and whoever wins gets to go live with people in the tripod city. The second book, which is The City of Lead and Gold, I don't have it. I don't think I have it in this series, is what life is like in the city. And then the third book is about holding a rebellion against the tripods. The best one is when they're in the city and having to live with the tripod masters, because they basically... Oh, I shouldn't... I spoiled some of it. They're slaves! Anyways, they're kids' books. But man, are these good books. And so I was able to get another series of the books that includes a prequel, which I've never read. So I remember when I recently reread one of the books, I was trying to find this, and I don't know why I didn't get it, but now it's more readily available, I guess, because of eBay, whatever. So, like we didn't have eBay before, when the tripods came. So this is like a prequel of like when they actually arrived. And there was an extra book, not in that series, called The Sword of the Spirit. So I'm going on and on about John Christopher. I loved this author as a kid. Loved him. So let me just show off the books in this series. So that's When the Tripods Came, the prequel. This is The Pool of Fire, The White Mountains, and finally City of Gold and Lead. I did them out of order. It's this order, I believe. So I highly recommend that if you want a good, fun read, young adult read, I really recommend Pool of Fire and City of Gold. No, The White Mountains and City of Gold and Lead. And the third one, The Pool of Fire, it's also good. If you read the first 2, you have to read the third one, right? But as endings go, I mean, it's an ending. The best part of this series is, getting into it. And let me show off some sci-fi books I got. I'm so excited because these are so beautiful. Now, I've gotten a lot of sci-fi books that I haven't shown just because I was embarrassed of my largesse on whatnot. But here we have a double book I haven't seen these before. So these are called Belmont double books. And we've got a Harlan Ellison, Doomsman. Look at that. And Telepower by Lee Hoffman. Well, look at that. And even the back, the colors. We got this Hidden World. Oh, and what was also cool, like every time you won a book, he would give you a Frank Frazetta card. So I've got a bunch of Frazetta cards in here as well. Here's Man of Many Minds. In his brain was the power to rule the world. And he's got laser beams coming out of his mind. This kind of reminds me of that early Star Trek episode where they become gods. Invaders from Rigel. Look at that awesomeness. Wow. These books are just so cool. This one is Hal Clement, Cycle of Fire. Oh my God, I just love. Look at the back of this book. Look at that. It's a 35-cent book. To Reach Another World. Look at how beautiful this thing is. Alien Island. That is hilarious art. Okay. Alien Island. I'm going to grab anything with time travel. So here's Robert Silverberg, The Time Hoppers. I said that's a pretty cool way to represent time. The Paradox of Time. 2 more. Psychedelic 40. That's a cool cover. Look at that. Psychedelic 40 by Louis Charbonneau. And this is a 50-cent book. Ooh, they went up 15 cents. And this one was the roughest one, but I really like the cover. Line to Tomorrow. Yeah, it's got what they call a lean. So yeah, I mean, this one, it was $2, but that cover was kooky and fun. And I just thought... and other stories. So I'm a sucker for short story collections. So there you have it. What do you think of my my science fiction book haul? Which one was your favorite cover? All right, I'm going to talk about some things that I read and finished over this weekend. So first, I was talking with Sleepy about Peter Lorre, right? Who was so amazing in M, and I was laughing about what they did to him in the Maltese Falcon because they made him like so gay, and they couldn't come out and say it right at that time, and so they showed that he was gay because he would be like sucking on that cane end. I still find that kind of offensive. Poor Peter Lorre, that's what they did him. So, we're gonna go back. So, and here's another really weird scene. The director put the camera under the desk and filmed up this. I could not believe, like, what was he doing? Like, why did he film that? Like, they show his socks here, and there is something supremely wrong with that bulge. Like, there's something in there that's not natural. Like, there's just some, or maybe I just don't know men. Like, I think I should. Oh my gosh. My experience doesn't cover what's going on there. But this is just, I couldn't believe it. I was like, what was the point? That director made so many cool choices. Why did he put the camera up in that one scene just looking up at him? Like, there must have been a reason why, but that's just totally unflattering for that actor. And whatever. Okay, enough of that movie. So that was from the movie M, right, which we discussed. Now, I watched 2 episodes of Space 1999. So I finished the first season a while back. For some reason, I took a break. So now I went ahead and started the new season. The second season, they only made 2. And the first thing that I can tell you is there's a huge jump in quality of production. Like, everything looks gorgeous. The colors look gorgeous. The sets, the costumes, everything was a huge bump up. So I watched the first episode called The Metamorph, and I'm going to show you, like, there's an example of, that's one of their little landing cruisers. And here's the villain of the first episode, the Metamorph. I mean, if you've seen Flash Gordon, then you know that guy. So he's in that movie. Look at that awesome makeup. But look at the background colors, everything about it. The sets, they're silly, but they're gorgeous. The costumes are silly, but gorgeous. Here, they were able to become like these green balls of light, and he's flying in space through the above the surface of the planet. And look at that planet. So cool. So they were tricked, and they were forced to land in this like a ship graveyard, and all the people there that were on those ships, they steal their minds and they make them become slaves. And now let's talk about the story. So far, both episodes that I watched, they were recycled. Like, these plots were also, I've seen them in Star Trek. I've seen them in modern Star Trek episodes. I don't know who did it first or what. This was a groundbreaking show, so maybe they did it first. I don't know. But these plots. So basically, they did this in the first Battlestar Galactica too, but that came way later. So they invite everyone to their planet, and then they take them as slaves, and they in this one they're using their brains. But the daughter isn't privy to this until she finds out, and then she rebels against the father, and she actually becomes a new crew member in future episodes. She was the new person in the show. I hope I have a picture of here. So here are the 2 leads. I mean, those uniforms are new. Look how cool those uniforms are. So when they get there, they are like slaves in the mine. But look at this guy's outfit right here. It's so Sean Connery in that one movie Z, or what, I forget what that movie was called. But yeah, look at them. They're just using that. I have another picture of that. So here they are. They're checking him out in the mines. There he goes. He's walking down the corridor. I mean, that looks like a giant diaper. Look how cool that scenery is. Like, they really had nice sets for this show in this season. Okay, I guess I didn't take a picture of that. Oh, I didn't take a picture of her. So I'll get her in the next one. I'll show you a picture of her. So that was called The Metamorph. Sorry, I had to take a quick break there. But the second episode was called the Exiles. And the Moonbase Alpha, they find these pods floating in space. And when they take the pods back and try to open them up, they find that they're filled with people. This is exactly the same as Star Trek's Khan. So, and it's the same thing. These people, this is there's a male and a female, and they want to keep all the other people in the pods safe. And what they do is they deceive everyone because they're smarter. And so, for example, in this episode, this scene, the captain shoots this guy to stun him just to see if their weapons have any effect on them. And supposedly they do, but he was faking. And their weapons have no effect on them, and that's how they're able to pull one over on them. Yeah, like I said, this is exactly the plot of Khan. So the metamorph that they picked up, I actually didn't get a picture of her, but this is hilarious. She turns into this kind of monkey creature, and with that really bad paper mache kind of makeup. It's hilarious. And here is the leader of an alien world where those exiles come from. They immediately go there and want to take over the planet. Here he is again. And yeah, I'm just saying, like, these backgrounds and the costumes and everything, they look silly, but man, they're beautiful, they're colorful, they work. They have a membrane around them, and one of the crewmat, the doctor, the female, Barbara Bain, she scratches him and it exposes the membrane, and he ages because they had been in those pods for so long that he rapidly ages. That's it. So I hope you enjoyed those summaries of Space 1999. The whole point is that you don't have to, it's spoiled or whatnot. It's just, they're fun to watch. They're beautiful to look at. The last thing that I'm going to talk about, I think, is a movie. Oh no, I got something else after that. This movie called Foe. I watched it last night. Supposedly it was a science fiction movie, and it was. So I started watching it, and it takes place on this farm, and it's in the future, and water's a problem, and so it's got two amazing leads, and one is I always have trouble saying her name, Saoirse Ronan. I think that's her name. I love her. Everything I've seen her in, I've really liked. So it's a husband and wife, and they conscript the husband to go into space. And what they're going to do is they're going to bring an AI robot to replace him while he's gone. And he's actually a test model. They're like testing him out. This is not a spoiler because they say all this within the first 5 minutes. I'm not going to tell you anything else. Right? Those are the two leads. But I found myself in the middle of the movie being a little bored. But there is a twist in the movie. Not really a twist, a reveal. And it makes all the details that come before it very important. And even, for example, I was telling myself, why do I need to watch these two have sex? They're both beautiful people. I mean, I get that. But what's the point? There was a point to it. Everything that came later, because of the reveal, it made the details that came before it very important. Like, I won't tell you. Okay, so I'm not gonna spoil it. Many people online said that this was like watching paint peel, like, because it was so boring. But everyone praised the actors. They did a phenomenal job. I will say that's absolutely true. I think in hindsight, like, once you get to the ending and makes everything before it flip, and you really have to appreciate all the details and why they're there. I think that made it truly worth it, like having to sit through it, because you have to reevaluate. I was bored, but I wasn't to the point where I like wanted to rip my hair out or turn it off or anything like that. I wanted to see where this had to go. In my mind, I had a couple of different scenarios because with the AI and clone everything, your mind is going to go like, oh, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen. And I ended up being right. One of them was the choice. But what the director did with the story and everything was really interesting. If you would like action movies only, you're going to hate this movie. This is very cerebral. This is one of those movies where, like I said already, you're going to have to re-examine everything after you finished it. And some people just aren't into that. They want, bam, bam, bang, bang, bang. Okay, that's fine. You will not like this movie, but if you're into the kind of slow burns, you're gonna love this movie. And that one again is called Foe, and I saw that on Amazon. I listened to 2 books, and they were both in the novella or novelette Hugo. I'm going to get the first one, and that is Every Heart a Doorway. This was nominated the year that it came out. I think it was 2018. And there's 5 in the series, and a couple of them have been nominated. The most recent one was nominated this year, so I'm going to try to go through all of them, of course, to get to this year's. This is very young adult, and I don't mind that at all. But very young adult. It's just like you have to be in the right frame of mind, right? So it was very X-Men in a way. So it was about all these kids who are at this school, and the kids have issues because seemingly they were kidnapped. But what really happened to them is they found doorways, and they would go through these doorways. And for some reason, they loved where they were, but they were forced to come back. And so these kids are always lamenting the fact that they can no longer get back to those other dimensions. They have to deal with that loss. But in the middle, it changes. There's a reason why, but it becomes a murder mystery, and I'm not big on that. I'm going to say that I did enjoy this for what it is. It's a kid's book, a young adult book. I like the world building that it did. I'm very looking forward to seeing the other books and where it takes this world. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I wouldn't highly recommend this just because it's young adult. It turned in the middle to become a murder mystery, which was okay because it's actually very short. The other book that I actually listened to it today, I got through the whole thing today because a lot of these are very short, and that's called A Spindle Splintered. And this is also Parallel Dimensions, and it retells Sleeping Beauty. So basically, it takes the idea of Sleeping Beauty from all these different dimensions, and they kind of bring them together. So a girl from our world who is like a modern Sleeping Beauty, right? She has a disease, and she might have to go to sleep. Or I'm really not explaining this well. But she gets sucked into a more traditional Sleeping Beauty world, and, has to deal with it. So, again, very young adult. Now, I'm just going to make a comment overall. From what I've seen from many of these Hugo Award nominated books, they're very, very concerned with gender. It's in almost every YA Hugo book that I've come across recently, and also in the adult ones. Like, gender is this huge theme that's going through it, more so than in all the other genres of literature. Not that I'm, so well read, but for example, in like Booker's, it comes up, but man, it seems to be that this is a thread. It also seems to be that more young adult books are on these lists than adult books in a sense. It's different. It's just different. Science fiction used to be such a old male dominated field. But now it's very diverse with a lot of female writers, especially, and there's a focus on gender. It is like totally changed from what it used to be. And, change is good. It's just like I'm making a commentary on the state of things. I'm not saying, that's a bad thing. I'm just saying I noticed that this is a common thread throughout so many of these books. I think that is it. I am continuing to watch the TV show Percy Jackson, the Lightning Thief, and I'm still really enjoying that. I'm not done with it. I also, we started watching there's a new, it's called A Bug's Life, and it was on National Geographic, but I think it's on Disney, right? It's being streamed on Disney. We watched the first episode. Awkwafina narrates this show. And if you like nature programs, they're all the same. You just the first episode was about 4 bugs in New York City. It focused on a jumping spider, cockroach, a praying mantis, and a fly. And it just shows their daily life in New York City. They even tried to put a little story with it because the jumping spider is chased off of his penthouse perch and lands in the streets of New York City, and he's got to try to make it safely to another penthouse. Fun stuff. If you like those kind of nature shows, like I said, you would enjoy this. Nothing, to write home about, but I mean, who doesn't like to see gross insects doing gross things, and other insects eating other insects? Like, it's just kind of stuff is fun for me. It's got the cute factor, it's got the gross factor, because it shows a fly landing on a burger and sucking up its juice, and then a person puts it in its mouth. Oh, first, it's hilarious. The fly goes on. So this is I gotta explain this. So this woman is walking her two dogs. She's all foo-foo. The dogs poop. The fly lands on the poop. Then the woman goes into the diner. She's eating a hamburger. The fly lands on the burger. And then she eats, and then it shows the dogs and they're talking about how it's full circle. It was pretty hilarious. It's worth it for that scene alone. So that's the kind of stuff that you're going to get in this show. So this is Garage Geek doing an unexpected chat on a Monday night, just because I wanted to show off some stuff. And I felt I had a bunch of things to talk about that I didn't want to wait until Friday. So let's hope that on Friday now I'll still have some other things to discuss. So as always, Garage Army, I want to thank you for all your support.